It's been a long season, but Gal has positioned himself well for the finale. But his bigger concern is likely the track itself rather than the championship. Road Atlanta is notorious for traffic playing havoc with drivers, particularly in the first half of the course. Can he avoid the frantic mess of lapped cars to finish on a high note? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 12 of the iRacing Kamel GT series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Road Atlanta can be seen as a circuit of two halves. To see what we mean, let's head to our track guide. Welcome to Road Atlanta, the scene of incredible sports car racing for decades and the home to the Petit Le Mans. This is a track that has proven itself to be worthy of attention on a world stage. With it being situated only an hour northeast of Atlanta, Georgia, the circuit is in a prime location. But despite its flagship race, in contrast to the real Le Mans, the full course is a measly 2.5 miles long. The club layouts also clock in at just under 2 miles. Packed within this small lap length is a series of technical and challenging corners, some of which can be race-ending even when small mistakes are made. Turn 1 is a fast sweeper which compresses the car into the track, but the high speeds mean that when you go off, you typically go off in a big way. Turn 3 is notorious for its curved entry into a blind apex. Too far inside and you face a cut course penalty. Too far outside and you're likely to spin out. Then there's the unassuming Turn 5. The wide curving lures you into getting greedy, but the close walls on either side gobble up cars and spit them out as a crumpled heap. With all the tricky fast turns, that's not to say that there aren't passing opportunities. The main one comes at the chicane at the bottom of the backstretch. The huge downhill drop into the turn makes outbraking yourself quite easy though, so be careful. The whole thing wraps up with the frightening final corner. With nothing but a giant wall right to the outside as cars fly through at high speed, it's not often that wrecks are small. Boasting a wide swath of series over its history, everything from NASCAR to Indy Lights and of course IMSA, the main use of the track is SCCA events and driving schools. No wonder this place is popular both in real life and here on the iRacing service. Fans will no doubt get to enjoy many more years of action at this incredible track. Adam, this is a track that has been something of a staple with the Kamel GT series, but for our viewers that haven't watched before, how is it going to be with these two classes around here?
Well, Joe, affectionately known as the Pork Chop, Road Atlanta, the site of the season-ending Petit Le Mans in the IMSA series, is a fascinating 2.5 mile or 4 kilometer 12-turn clockwise circuit with some unique challenges. For the Audis, the first sector is really a bear with long, sweeping corners with lots of changing elevations, including the ever-challenging S's. After the wicked Turn 5, often the site of many accidents as it requires a shift while leaping over an access road on the exit, the Audis will find the rest of the lap fairly simplistic, with a series of right-angle turns and the added challenge of the sweeping Turn 12. The Nissans will find this course nice and fast, but a little tricky as the high curbs and oddly rough bank corners make putting traction down very difficult. What will be more difficult for them, though, will be the multi-class traffic. With over 10 seconds a lap delta between GTOs and GTPs, the Nissans will get massively held up through the S's if they don't time their lapping up the Audis correctly. With so much ground to be gained and lost there, expect to see quite a few over-ambitious moves coming through this infamous sector of the course. For most of our front-running drivers, simply surviving is all they need, but some of the midfield runners may see this race as a chance to get an elusive victory, so I'm expecting some fireworks today, Joe.
Yeah, same here. We almost always get some thrillers with this series visiting Road Atlanta. And, well, we at least still have something of drama left in the Prototype Championship. Up at the top, Alex Gal is ahead by 20 points, but that could still be run down. Of course, it will take some dramatic results because he has to be 16th or lower in his class to lose the championship, or have a chance to lose the championship to Hovdal, who pretty much needs either first through third, or first or second, I should say, to win. If he finishes third and they tie, then of course it'll go to Gal with his 6 wins. From there on down, you've got the fight between Campbell and Sintez Guindo for the 3rd position, and maybe Lau Stolson involved as well. But Adam, the GTOs have been wrapped up for quite some time by now.
Yeah, I've been wrapped up for the last 3 rounds, and Yuko Leskala, with 56 points over Reed Miller, has absolutely secured that first spot. Reed Miller, who's about 56 points back, he's definitely secured second as well, but third place is not at all secure. Only 3 points between Hugh Haycox and Albrecht Liebenau. Niels Kor is only 9 points behind, and who you can't see on that screen is Ian Haycox, who's only 6 points behind Niels Kor. So expect that battle for the third position to be very tense as we get towards the end of this race. We're going to be watching that with piqued interest. Look for that name, Hugh Haycox, currently second on the timing charts as we get into qualifying.
And of course, for today's race details, pretty typical stuff if you've been watching this series before. It's their 40-minute sprint format, and it's the season finale. It's an open setup series, so they can tweak them to their liking, but they have no fast repair. So if they get any sort of damage, which is easy to accrue at this track, they're going to have to make an unscheduled pit stop and repair it. Also, some incident points can get them penalties. Expect the cars to be too damaged before they actually have to make that drive-through at 17. Currently, we're watching Alex Gal, who is our provisional pole sitter in the GTPs, and Leskala, no surprises here, is a provisional pole sitter over in the GTOs.
Yeah, interesting to note, Nick McConos has made the hop back over to the GTO for this season finale race, so interesting to see a lot of the Dirty Torque drivers who were driving GTPs this season now hopping back over to the GTO. Only driver we're missing from that crew would be Jamie Hall, who we haven't seen all season. I think he's taking the season off just to rest himself. But here we go once again with Alex Gal coming around the set yet another time. Is it going to be faster than his last one? Yeah, it is. Almost a 106 flat, Joe.
Yeah, 2/10 knocked off for him as we watch Hugh Haycox. Let's see if he's got any more speed on this second time around, and the answer is a big yes. Looks like the tires are heating up in a big way on that second lap. He's actually quicker than Leskala, and Yuko on his second lap does not go higher, so Haycox might steal this pole.
Provisional pole. We see Tanner McCullough coming back. We haven't seen Tanner for a while on iRacing in general, but also to see him make a return here in the Kamel GT series. So as more drivers crossing the line, Mike Reuter going off track just a little bit there. I think he might have actually captured that off track. No, he didn't. Good. An improvement for him up to 16th position. And 16 was that magic number, Joe, that we were looking for an opportunity for Gal to possibly lose the championship this round. We have more than that in the Nissan, so it'll be interesting to see whether or not Gal gets an early wreck, because that's really the only way he's going to lose this championship. But here comes Craytree across the line.
And behind Tim, Reed Miller, who sits fourth, is trying to see what he can do. Remember, he's not able to win the championship, but he's got to fight for this second place, and he goes 2/10 faster. That'll put him into third. Good news for Reed Miller.
Absolutely. Hideki Koivisto does improve as well, so those tires definitely warming up on those second laps for these drivers, so great to see that. Here's Tanner McCullough once again. Still getting used to the new feel of this car. Remember, there was a build change recently, and I don't think he's driven it since then, so I know that Tanner puts in a lot of practice before he takes these races on. It'll be interesting to see how he does in the race, but the second lap is going to be faster by 2/10, so long as he didn't clip the inside of 10A. Looks like he didn't, so he is going to move himself up into 10th. Here's Stefan Hellenbrunner, who's going to cross the line with not an improvement on his second lap. He's going to remain our last qualifier at this moment.
Yeah, I think most drivers have finished their second laps. I think Craytreek's going to be the next one to complete his qualifying in that number 18 within the top 10. Can he go even faster? Yes, by nearly half a second, but it only gets him up to 8th. Looks like quite a wide discrepancy between cars in this prototype class, about 6 seconds from beginning to end.
Yeah, and that's going to scare the Audis a little bit because they might be catching up to the back of them as Cass Silman crosses the line with a 111.7. That's going to put him second to last on our scoring sheets in 20th position. Devin Donne not had the greatest qualifying for him. In 9th position, though, a pretty decent run, actually, but he's just had a little bit of trouble on a couple of his laps. So here we go, coming around 10A and 10B up towards turn 11, which takes you underneath the bridge. That's a big dip here into turn 12. Oh, he loses it a little bit on the rear and goes off track. Unfortunately, that lap will not count.
That would have been a good recovery, except as you said, in qualifying, as soon as you go off track or spin, that lap unfortunately will not be put on the board. I think Steiner is our last one to be able to set a timed lap. He's only going to get one of them. Michael's going to, well, no, he's not going to get one of them, as it looks like he's on his out lap with not enough time left to complete one. I think that means qualifying is now over. Interesting. We'll let the rest of those seconds tick down. 40 cars here today and nearly perfectly split in half with 22 of our prototypes out there. So 6 positions that Gal could finish in that could potentially hand this over to Hovdal. But even then, Hovdal has to actually seal the deal and take a first or a second if he wants to take this championship. Can he manage the unthinkable here today compared to the man who has been almost impossible to beat on his good day? Leskola not taking the pole position is interesting because he's gotten 9 of them this season. It would have been 10 if not for that bad lap. Let's go through our starting order as they now start to grid up. And it is going to be Gal on the top spot with Hovdal next to him. Tapani Lindaluoto is in P3. You've got Fabian Jungbluth to his outside, followed by Nick Schneider in the 5th spot. Togo Hisada will be 6th. That's a name I don't think we've seen here before, and certainly looks like he's got some speed. Heitor Sintes Guindo will be 7th, with Martin Krejcik in the 8th position. Next row has Suarez to the inside, with Mosquera starting in 10th. Lyle Stolson on the top of our next slide. He's followed by Nick Morelli in 12th and James King starting 13th. Haven't seen James here in a long time. Guillotero will be 14th and Patrick Silvazzi in P15. Mark Gamick in the 16th spot, then has Mike Reuter to the inside of the next one in 17th. John Cope starts from P18, Furcon in 19th, and Silliman in 20th. The last couple will be Kyle Graham in 21st and Carlos Fonseca, the only of the prototypes not to set a time, will be 22nd.
Hugh Haycock's making a good bid for his 3rd position in the championship, taking pole today over Yuko Leskola. Yuko in 2nd position with Reed Miller starting off in 3rd. Nick McConos in his return to the Audi starts off at 4th position, a great qualifying for him. Franco Scurry going to start off in that 5th position right now with Ian Haycox in 6th position. Not the greatest qualifying for Ian. Hideki Koivisto in 7th with Marco Lay starting off in 8th. Devin Donne a decent qualifying in 9th with Tanner McCullough in his return to iRacing in 10th position. Nils Kor is going to start off in 11th place with Jamie Hamill-Smith in 12th. Look for those two to battle most of this race. Brian Shanahan and Mika Tupola 13th and 14th positions with Oren Laskin in 15th. Stefan Heiligenbrunner is going to start off in the 16th position. And then our 2 Audis that did not set a time were Michael Steiner and Samuel Myers, rounding out your 18 Audis in the field and your 40 cars total for today.
Let's see, let's hope we see most of them make it to the checkered flag. If I'm honest, I'm not sure that we'll get all of them there and completing the race, as this one tends to gobble up cars, especially through this portion, coming through the S's from basically turn 2 and 3 all the way up to turn 5. That you can see up there, it is a single file affair. Highly advised, but not everybody is always patient enough to do that. But Adam, looks like the conditions today actually not too bad here in the evening in Georgia. I think that at least is going for the drivers.
Absolutely. It's only 83 degrees on track right now with 76 degrees in the air. That's 24 degrees Celsius in the air, 28 degrees on track Celsius for the track temperature. Wind, though, 10 miles an hour. That tends to be when it starts affecting those GTPs out of the west. That will definitely make things interesting. That's going to be coming, actually it's going to be a headwind through the S's, so that will definitely make it easier for the Nissans to be able to navigate that portion of the track. One interesting thing to note, though, Joe, this is Hugh Haycock's first time on pole this season, and this will be only the 4th driver to take a pole position in the GTO, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of a getaway he gets at the beginning of this race, and whether or not he can beat Yuko Leskola into turn 1.
Yeah, and that's something that he really needed, Hugh fighting for that 3rd position from Liebenau and Core. And honestly, even Ian could snatch that away from him if he gets a very good race, and those in front do not. But the prototypes are already heading into the chicane. Gal is going to have control. What kind of start is he going to get over Hovdal? And we don't have Sean Campbell here today, sadly. So that takes him out of the equation, but it gives us a good head-to-head fight between two Titans as the green flag waves and Gal gets a big jump over our second place driver and already almost a spin for Lena Luoto, who catches it, thankfully, doesn't go in front of everybody. And coming through turn one, oh, and Ugbluth is off as well. He manages to keep it out of the wall. Man, drama immediately in the prototypes. Let's go to the GTOs.
GTOs actually didn't start all the way, they didn't start after turn 10, they started before turn 10 A and B, so Hugh Haycox with a nice run over Yuka Leskola. Reed Miller's a couple seconds back, then we have Nick McConos, Ian Haycox, Mark Ole, all tucked in behind them. The Audis are nicely strung out single file already as they head towards the S's.
Racing gods are smiling upon our prototypes because we had two more cars off. Neither of them hit the wall here on the first lap. Everybody in survival mode potentially. As we look at our leaders now, Gal ahead of Hovdal and Schneider, in fact, by quite a margin already. 1 second between them into the braking for the chicane. This is a little bit farther down with Togo, I think.
Absolutely, we're gonna have a pass for the lead in the Audis right now. We've got Hugh Haycox and Yuka Leskola duking it out. Yuka Leskola's gonna look to the inside. Hugh Haycox doesn't need the lead, but he does need to stay on track there as he was getting those right tires into the grass as he came down the hill. Yuka Leskola up to the lead right now. Reed Miller trying to catch up to the back of these two. Hugh does not need that lead. Oh, we've had a wreck. It looks like Hideki Koivisto's gone around along with Brian Shanahan.
Oh, so the chicane is where it finally bites a driver.
Oh, this was involved with Tanner McCullough as well.
Well, it's been a rough welcome back for Tanner, unfortunately.
Yeah, Tanner just outbraked himself heading into 10A and ended up collecting Hideki Koivisto, and I believe that Brian Shanahan actually came back up upon that, but we're going to go back up to Togo up front, who's battling side by side with Tapani Linoidolo.
Yeah, the Finn is a little bit out of position here at the start. Togo's not going to fight it too hard, making quite a transition, tends to run over the Lotus 49s, and has come to one of the more high downforce prototypes that you can hop into here on the iRacing service.
Nicholas Morelli's gone off, unfortunately. He was down in the 10th position in the GTPs. He went off on the exit of 10 Bravo, which puts him quite a bit ways down the field now in 16th position. We're going to take a look at this.
Yeah, dropping a number of spots. Yeah, he not only does he have to cut the course, but he's got so much momentum. He goes wide off the exit. Again, still doesn't hit a thing. Have any of our prototypes hit anything with, what, about 5 or 6 off tracks in the first 3 laps?
I don't believe so, but Franco Scurry just had a similar moment just like that one as he went through 10A and 10 Bravo, so he's fallen behind Tanner McCullough. So very challenging for those drivers as well. But take a look at this battle that we've got going on, still in the lead of the race. Yuka Leskola up ahead of Hugh Haycox and Reed Miller. They're all tucked within a second of one another. Oh, Mike Reuter's gone around.
Ooh, oh, yeah, ooh, that is a bad one. Coming off of turn 7. Is this a solo incident for the 33? Playing defense already. And unfortunately, that Eagle is going to go screeching into the wall. Oh, and he glitches, unfortunately. So Gal, 1.5 seconds ahead now. Is he already to the back of the field? Yes, he is.
This is him navigating. Oh, he just scared Devin Donne off the track there. So fortunately, Devin's going to be able to recover and get back on just fine. But yeah, he's towards the back of those GTOs already, Joe. These Nissans really crank quickly around this course, and some of the lower running GTOs are about 20 seconds a lap slower than these guys. So this is going to be the stressful point for Gall. He needs to be very careful here. Considering the fact that we haven't had a GTP except for Reuter, DNF, he still has an opportunity to lose the championship here, especially with Hovdal breathing down his neck.
Yeah, kind of ironic. Gal did not want, and Hovdal was helped back up to the rear wing of the one by some of that traffic. I mentioned it briefly before we jumped over here that he was up to 1.5 seconds and caught him in the exact worst spot. That's through the S's, and
I'm sorry, Togo Hisano was just pushed way off track by Devin Donne and is now wrecked.
Ooh, he's actually gone into the wrong pits. This is not something I've seen in a long time. It's unusual to catch this sort of incident.
It's the outside of Devin Dane as they go underneath the bridge. Devin was going out there to take his normal line, and look at this. He ends up in the wrong pits. This is a really hard place to get back from, especially with that nose damage, Joe.
He had to actually take a tow and is in pit lane now. I think he'll have the opportunity to get back on track. It wasn't too hard of a hit. Let's go to 6, though, because Suarez and Krejcik, along with Jungbluth, are really dicing, and they're onto the back stretch, but Suarez has made good use of stretching away.
Krejcik has some right front damage, Joe, and that's actually affecting his straight line speed, which is why we see Suarez and Jungbluth run away from him a little bit. That's how they caught up to him. So as these drivers continue to DNF, Joe, this is going to be good news for Alex Gal. Oh my goodness, Jungbluth really taking it deep through 10A and 10B. That was very interesting, but the lead is very close, Joe, underneath 2/10.
Oh, yeah, and it's more of that traffic. Once again, it's Tanner McCullough up in front of him. Gal going to be able to get through. He gives space to Hovdal, but Hovdal wasn't gutsy enough to try and stick it in. Doesn't lose too much. And here is the worst nightmare for Gal. Oh. Or maybe it was for Hovdal instead. It went from 2/10 up to 1 second.
And that's the kind of risk that you have to take when you're trying to maintain the lead of this race. Hovdal and Gal definitely taking some big risks to get through there, but fortunately now they're on the back half of the course. This is usually not the most dangerous portion. We're going to go back to Pablo Suarez.
Oh,
we've had
no.
a gigantic incident in the back of the field with Martin Krejcik and Mark Gamick.
Jungbluth is the other one, I believe, that went off with Krejcik. What in the world happened here? They're in a lot of traffic. Oh, I think Krejcik's going to outbrake himself.
About 4 different incidents that all go on at the same time right here. We just saw the beginning of one, and this is the other one with Jungbluth and Krejcik. Krejcik outbraking himself. But that was Mark Gamick that we saw, who got into the back of a GTO, and they absolutely sailed off into turn 5 as well. So quite a few incidents happening here, Joe.
You caught Gamick, and I wondered what you were talking about. I didn't even realize there was a second incident at all. Jungbluth keeps it running, even though he did make some contact. He's down to 11 side by side for position in front of him, with Morelli nearly swiping into Diotero. Guy is going to be able to take 9th, but he's going to get checked up by Koivisto, and Morelli easily overtaken by Jungbluth there.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That was about as close as you could get between Jungbluth and Morelli. That was very, very close between them. But this is the kind of risk that the GTBs are going to be taking all race long, Joe, to try and maintain that track position, try and maintain the time gap between the rest of their class, as we see the 34 getting pushed off a little bit wide there, trying to make it through that corner. That was Mika Tupola.
Wow, things are frantic, not just here with the prototypes, but with some of our GTOs, because it looks like Leskala has been caught by Haycox. This surprises me. I thought maybe Yuko had a bad qualifying, and his immediate rush to the front kind of implied that. They're going to get overtaken by Nick Schneider here.
Vitor's going to send it in on Haycox, and that's about as narrow as it gets there. Oh my goodness. But yeah, Yuko Leskala got held up a little bit with Alex Gal and Matthias Hovdal cutting through the field. So Hugh and Yuko now still very close together, and I think we're going to see these Audis getting pushed around a lot today, just the speed of the Nissans.
Jungbluth with a big wreck that this time did take him out. This was involved with Guiotero, who we probably want to put the cameras on. And it unfortunately involved the GTO of Hamill Smith. So this actually almost looked like the car of Jungbluth goes out of the circuit. Let's watch. Guy is going to just try and go 3 wide here with Hamill Smith. Oh. Wow.
That is a horrible, horrible accident for sure. coming back with Martin Krajcik, who's still lapping, but he's very, very slow on track. I can report that Hugh Haycox tried to make a move down into 10A on Yuko Leskla, could not get the job done because he was too afraid of Tapani Linaluoto tucked in behind him. They've got Pablo Suarez, James King, and Laust Olsen, who are now all in a battle for 6th position, tucked in behind them as they head towards the S's.
Who's willing to make the risk? Suarez is at first.
No!
So between getting a touch from Haycox, just looked like almost the prototype got loose on the curbs there, Adam.
Well, that was contact between Haycox and Pablo Suarez, Joe. That was definitely contact. So Hugh's actually going to back off. He doesn't want any part of this, especially if it's going to knock him out of this. He's in a really good position to secure that 3rd spot in the championship if he just continues to ride here. Yeah, he wants to take that win from Yuko, but not the risk of losing the rest of the championship due to an accident.
It's been tense, but let's head back here to our GTO battle in, I believe this is the 5th place.
This is a 7th, 8th, and 9th between Tanner McCullough, Niels Kort, and Franco Scurry. Franco, the lead car. And look at this. They're going to think about going 3 wide. Tanner gets blocked off there by Niels Kort, who decides to take it all the way to the white line. He's going to make it past Franco Scurry. Can Tanner outbrake himself? No! Locks up all the tires. Hangs onto it there. Woo! Woohoo!
And off goes Scurry. Or no, Core. That was Core going off. Scurry's going to get both spots. Tanner actually put wheels in the dirt and just mashed his brake pedal to the floor to save it.
If we could stay here and then go to the battle between Hovdal and Gall, they go side by side as this wreck ends itself as Niels Kort goes off track there. There's Gall going off on the exit of 7, and that's by side between the two of them as they head down towards 10A and B, and this is the closest that we've seen Hovdal get.
He briefly held it ahead of him, and as they come down into the chicane, Hovdal's got the inside, but can't get the launch off the corner. As we come back to them, just briefly before this live shot, Hovdal actually was side by side down the front stretch once again, so he must have had a second attempt at the chicane, and once again it did not stick. Oh, that little dodge from Donaghy just made Hovdal think twice.
Donaghy has not had a great race when it comes to communicating with the Nissans. Already sent a couple of them off, unfortunately, so Devin just not having the best of days dealing with the multi-class. I'm sure he's going to get a talking to on the forums after this, but that's just lost Hovdal 2 whole seconds to Gall.
He gets on the radio with an apology. I think he knows what he did right there. As behind them, is that Donaghy fighting with Stylenberger? Yeah, that is for position. That's farther down. That's for 14th in that class. Oh, something happened to Morelli. Nick Morelli at the side of the track out of turn 5.
I think it was a technical issue, Joe. He unfortunately just lost all power coming off the corner. It might have been a blown engine, though.
Which shortly before this, I went and checked. Coming into the S's, it looks like he was trying to shift up, and the car shifted down. I've seen some talk on the forums of some drivers. Yeah, there you could just hear it blow. Some of the drivers have been mourning that fewer and fewer race cars have H-pattern shifters, but I'm not sure that Nick is sharing in those complaints right now.
It's going to be a close battle between Reed Miller and Ian Haycox. Nick McConos is tucked in behind Ian as well as they head into 10A and 10B as well. There's some nice side-by-side battling going on all over this track right now. All of these guys just really tucked in close together.
Ride with Nick Mukanos onto the front stretch. Brave enough to take a lot of curb there in that final corner. Certainly looked like it was bouncing the car around as the prototype zoomed by. Oh my goodness. And even on the radio, did Silman make contact there? Because Haycox was suddenly really verbal with him.
It doesn't look like it, but definitely I think that the Audi drivers are not being very happy with the Nissans at this moment. I don't think the Nissans are very happy with the Audis, so we've got a lot of people who are very unhappy at this moment.
Yeah, I went back. He did make some contact with him. And Makanos had a little side-to-side contact as well, because he had to check up for that happening in front of him. Couldn't quite see it on our screen, but that was crazy stuff. Well, this has put them well far behind both Miller and especially Hugh Haycox and Leskala ahead of them. This is Yuko and Hugh. They're going to get lapped by Kyle Graham. Not even halfway through this race. Credit to Hugh. He's been keeping Yuko honest here today.
Absolutely, that qualifying pace was not a fluke at all for Hugh Haycox. He's been doing a great job. You can tell how much practice he put in to make sure that he perfects this track and secures his position in the championship. So it's great to see him tucked in behind Yuko and really keeping him honest, but this lap car is going to cause him a little bit of an issue here on exit. Fortunately, he's able to get by.
Podium might be up for grabs in the prototypes. Nick Schneider and Aitor Sintez Guindo have been caught up behind traffic within their own class, and now with the GTOs, Tanner McCullough is going to play the plug in the spigot. He's going to stay off to the right-hand side. Schneider finally gets through. This has given a little bit of a run to Aitor, and he knows it. He's going to cover it off coming into turn 6, and once again just checking up behind these slower GT cars at almost every corner. Onto the back stretch, it'll stop them up almost equally, and this doesn't give the advantage to Sintez Guindo that he was hoping for.
Yeah, Sintez Guindo is pretty close behind, and he's going to be able to follow Schneider with the draft. Let's see whether or not Sintez decides to make a late dive down towards 10. Look at this, Schneider's going to cover it off. Sintez Guindo's going to be able to go to the normal racing line. Schneider thought he could make it back in time, couldn't quite do it. Almost contact between the two of them as they entered 10.
Ooh, and I think we had our latest DNF, Cass Silliman, I think had a bit of an incident.
Oh, here we go. No. Oh my goodness, so close between them. Aitor Sintez Guindo's going to try and go around the outside here as Nicholas Schneider covered him off as he went towards tried to make an inside move across the line.
Turn 3, and he's keeping right on that tail, but a car washes out a little bit. The 15 can't hang in the dirty air of the number 6, it seems. They're coming up on more traffic. These are some of our higher up drivers. They're not going to be as willing to get out of the way. Nick Bucanos, Ian Haycox, who are fighting for position. Oh, splitting them right in the middle, and then trying to find some speed through 6 and 7. Such a short straightaway. He's going to get through. Schneider is feisty today with traffic.
Absolutely, you gotta take those opportunities when you can. Otherwise, you're gonna lose the opportunity to maintain that position. That's why we're seeing everyone be so aggressive here. And with a 10-second delta between the fastest GTOs and the fastest GTPs, that really is gonna make a huge difference when it comes to the pace here.
Hangs with it, doesn't want to lose it quite yet. And Nick Schneider still up behind Gamek, wanting to try and get by, flashing the lights at him. Oof, man, that time in the background, there was a very brave move from Sintez Guindo getting to the inside of Sam Myers, but he made it stick. Also, as far as the championship situation that we've mentioned a couple times, we've had 1, 2, 3, and 4 officially retired from the GTPs, but many are multiple laps down. So at some point in this race, it will become impossible for Gal.
And that's the moment. Laus Olsen DNFing here might be the one that secures this win for Gal.
They needed 5 drivers to retire. Yeah, because if he finishes 16th, I think that'll tie him no matter what, and he will win on a tie. So what happened to Laus? Already had a bad day in the Lotus 49s. Oh, and that was McCullough once again.
Oh.
Not sure we'll see much of Taylor after today.
That was just target fixation for Laus Olsen. He just runs straight into the back of Tanner.
He thought he was going to continue to drift out to the outside and anticipated wrong. Whatever the case, it ends the day early. At least for Laus, McCullough is able to get the car going despite not looking like the factory version of itself. Well, this split up a lot of our drivers, including Leskala over Haycox by about 1.6 seconds.
Interestingly enough, Lescla's caught to the back of Mark Gamick, who actually is a couple laps down on the GTP leaders. So this is actually a move for position between Lescla and Gamick if Gamick slows up again. So unfortunately for him, here comes Yuka Lescla getting passed, lapped once again by John Cope, who's 13th position and a couple laps down from our leader as well.
Trying to see if we've got any fights going on. I think the closest, well, no, they both started to separate on the backstretch. I was going to say Mukanos and Haycox were close, and then they fell apart. Olay and Kor were close. They fell apart. Nobody able to get a good launch here onto the backstretch to try and fight into the most popular passing spot on the end of the chicane. So continue to watch the beautiful gold number 3, who's officially taken the gold in this championship. We're going to give some love to Reed Miller ahead of Nick Mukanos. Ian Haycox back there riding by about a second behind Nick.
Now we're looking on from the back of Reed Miller's machine towards Nick Mukanos. Nick trying to gain that position, possibly get his first podium of the season in the GTOs, in any of the classes actually. So doing a good job trying to tuck his way up forward towards Reed Miller. They've got a lot of traffic to deal with, Joe.
And you can see how close they get underneath the rear wing of the Audi. That was Silvazzi. Oh, and I think that's a lap car off, actually. Yeah, Steiner, who's just going to go a little wide at 7. Thankfully didn't hit anything. He keeps going.
I think Niels Kor is going to have an opportunity on Mark Olay this time around as they come towards 10. This is for 6th position. And actually, Mark Olay cuts off Niels Kor. Very interesting move there. It actually made Niels back off. But look at this. He tried to stick his nose up the inside there of 10. Can't quite get it done. Can he get a better exit? Because Olay gets a little bit loose. Olay's going to cut him off once again. I think Niels Kor is going to stop being okay with these aggressive defenses from Mark at some point and just shove him.
You have to think, well, that, or he could probably get a mistake out of him. Get him to chop to the inside when he shouldn't, as they come through turns 2 and 3 and up and over the hill. Look at close he gets to that rear bumper and back down the hill. Unfortunately, no place to pass here in the S's, even often unable to do it too wide. So 5, yeah.
Niels had a great run, but he was too afraid that Mark wasn't going to carry speed, so he actually hit the brakes on the exit of 5. And that means he's got to make up all that time once again. And Mark has been stout in his defense into 10, and now he's got the draft of Steiner.
The thing is, 10 sometimes offers ways around either side, Adam. So, again, I feel like maybe he could just try and get something out of him. We need to go to Mukanos, though, because he's got a fantastic run on Miller. Oh, and he doesn't take it. He was very close to getting it up the inside.
And Nick Mukanos thought about making the move, but decided better of it. I think he just was too worried about his braking points. The Audis have been struggling with braking later in these races. We just crossed the halfway point. Joe, it feels like this race has already gone on for quite a while, but we still have 20 minutes to go.
I have a feeling for some of the drivers, it feels like it's been an eternity out there today. No chance to relax. Up and over the curbs through 2 and 3. Little bits of dust getting kicked up here and there.
Oh, Mark Olay's just gone off track through turn 2. This gives another opportunity for Niels Kor.
He's right with him. We're gonna look at the replay.
He just outbroke himself coming over that crest and not have it planted, but we're gonna jump back because Niels is making the move up the inside here.
Ooh, 2 wheels into the dirt. He's still got the overlap down into turn 7, and he's going to be able to get by. Unfortunately, Mark will now have the slipstream. Is he going to be able to fight back? But can he make it stick if he does? As we watch the nose of the Audi follow him all the way down, sticking right in the tire tracks of that number 7, all the way to, whoa, way too far to the inside. What's going on here? Can he stop the car in time? He might run into Niels Kor. No, he's going to slip through. What in the world was he doing?
He's trying to make an aggressive move to the outside, but his car control really hasn't been on point today. It was just a little bit too aggressive and got too much weight shift going. We're going to ride on board. Look at how scary this moment is for him.
I was so worried that he'd just wind up T-bowing into the side of Niels. Thankfully, the timing worked out. Olay actually is still in 7th.
Oh, Niels is around!
Position. Oh, no.
Niels gets collected by Martin Krajcik, who was coming out of the pits. Makes contact with Michael Steiner.
I think Krajcik was back on track. Yeah, he was on track at the time there.
Yeah, oh man. That's a tough situation to try and decide what happens. Niels Core actually collected Kyle Graham as well, who had to take a tow. So Niels has some significant damage at this point and a little bit of tow problems.
Oh, and here we go again with Reed and Nick. That's Miller to the inside, Nick to the outside, and he's going to be stronger on the brakes. No, it's going to be Miller that comes back at him, gets the car woed up in time. Will the switchback give him another shot at it? Yes, it does. He finds the momentum. He's still on the outside of the corner, coming down through the final turn. And Nick Bukanos, who's been trying for that one for a long time, also finds himself out in the grass, has to collect it, and Miller goes right back through.
So a good move there from Reed Miller to try and challenge Nick. Nick just couldn't hang on to it, unfortunately. We just had a really scary moment between Devin Dane and Mika Tupla as they were battling for 11th and 12th in class. They had some lapping GTPs just go by, and there was almost a wreck on the back straight, Joe.
Yeah, thankfully nothing became of that one. But this is not over with Miller and Mukanos. All right, Mukanos might get a second chance here. Can he get the run along the backstretch? Nick Schneider gonna wait through turn 7, not gonna push the issue.
So let's see whether or not Mukanos can make a move up through 10, because it's going to be close. He's going to try and draft off of Nicholas Schneider, who just went by. He's definitely close, but is he close enough?
Ooh, trying to cover him off, and then Miller comes back to the racing line. That was enough to scare Mukanos off of it. And Reed Miller sliding it through the chicane on top of things, is hustling this car at 10/10ths.
Absolutely. The question is whether or not he's burned off his tires at this point, and whether he has the pace to catch back up to Reed. I mean, you can see how much straight line speed he has, but the trouble is does he have the traction to make this work? Wow, Reed Miller really struggling on exit.
Didn't even get close to the apex in turn 1. A little bit better down through 3 for them. Ian Haycock's following behind, looking to try and close that down. And the more they fight, the easier it's going to be for the 13 to get involved in the battle for the final step on the podium. We were watching Heitor Sintes Guindo earlier, trying to chase down Nick Schneider. Well, unfortunately, he is way behind him now, and it's Tapani Luoto, still on a recovery drive, starting from 3rd, only able to get up to 5th, who's looking at one more spot. He's got about 5/10ths to make up, though, before he gets there.
And he's looking up the road towards his competitor, who's catching up to the back of that battle we were just watching between Nick Mukanos and Reed Miller. So Heitor Sintes Guindo gonna get held up here through 10, gonna get held up here under the bridge. This could make an opportunity for Tapani.
Ooh, and it's gonna compromise both of the GTOs.
Oh, Reed was slow.
Miller very slow off the final turn. Mukanos down to the inside into turn 1 as they get more traffic in there. James King trying to find space. Eventually he gets through, but that may have cost Mukanos another chance.
I mean, I understand James King's need to get through because he's actually battling with Tapani and Heitor up ahead, but now Nick Mukanos tucked in behind once again is gonna have to find a way by, and he completely misses the apex of 5.
Frustrating day for the 11. Thought for sure he was going to have that one, but unfortunately he's now going to reset and go at it again. Ian Haycock's now up to 6/10ths behind the two of them.
I believe Heitor Sintes Guindo is going to have to do a little bit of defensive work here because Tapani Luoto is in a good position to try and make a late dive. He decides better of it, though. Gonna chase down Ator a little bit more. They've got Hugh Haycock's about 9 seconds up the road, so this should put a little bit of pressure on.
Sintez Guindo recovers out of the chicane, puts himself a little bit farther away from Tapani Linnaluoto. I think if I'm looking at our standings right now, we can call the championship for Gal, because I do not see 16 cars still running. There's many in pit lane taking repairs, only 10 minutes left. It's unlikely that they'll be back out. Back to the battle between Miller and Mukanos once again.
This really took a lot of curve there through too. Very interesting. I don't think he actually caught a slowdown penalty, but we're on board with Nick now as he's trying to chase down Reed. And Ian Haycox is definitely closing the gap behind them as well, but he's got Martin Kraytrick to worry about.
Well, he's lost a lot of time since we last saw. He was within 0.6 of a second of Mukanos, and he's going to lose even more as we ride on board. We can't see it, but it seems to his inside, Martin Kraytrick is in too much of a hurry to let him have the apexes. And something happened to Hugh Haycox? Oh, Hugh Haycox is off course. He's going to catch it before he gets to the wall. He doesn't lose a spot as Miller is so far back.
For Sintez Guindo, Joe. This is through 10A and B. And he gets pushed off.
Now, I heard him protesting on the radio, but to be fair, I put this one a little bit more on Hugh because Ator was inside of it. He was almost past him at that point. I would think that the 4 would have to give way. Whoa! Ian, what happened to Ian Haycox?
Miller goes wide at the final corner. Nick Mukanos makes contact, and then it all starts cracking off behind him. Reed comes back across the road, and Ian Haycox gets sent into the wall.
The thing you are told many times not to do, he steers the car back on after he finally has semblance of control.
Hold the brake, Reed.
And the one who benefits is Nick Mukanos. He gets third. Ian is actually able to still run. He looks a little off the pace, though.
Oh my goodness, we just had another wreck on the front straightaway. Ator Sintez Guindo, Tapani Linnaluoto, and James King have come together. Gigantic accident for Tapani. He was just ahead of Ator, and Ator's following him through 12. Contact.
Oh, just a little. It almost looked like he changed his mind on which side he wanted to go on, or maybe he had to catch a slide. And that just put both of them kind of off their guard. Oh, boy. Are we even going to have 10 of our GTPs left at this checkered flag? Dear Lord.
Sintez Guindo has recovered. James King is up ahead of him. James King was behind them both when they came towards the flag this last time. But a good run from Guindo because James King has nose damage now because he's the one who sent Linnaluoto spinning like a top.
So Sintez Guindo might actually get that spot in the end. He was obviously faster before, even before damage for the 12. So they're going to go past Tupola. Not really gaining through this section, though.
Both of them have damage from that accident on their noses, so it's just going to be whether or not Guindo can close enough to get the draft that will take the air off the nose and stop making that an effect, but he can't if he goes super wide through 2. So James King's able to get past Steiner. Steiner's going to get out of the way of Guindo. That's actually very convenient for him.
Yeah, very much so. I spoke too soon. Ian Haycox has had to come into pit lane. Hamill Smith had to get a small repair as well before he was allowed out. He had been given the meatball flag, unfortunately. Up at the front of that class, Hugo Leskala ahead by 5.5 seconds now that Hugh Haycox had his off-track excursion. So it's looking unlikely that Hugh will be able to snag a win over Yuka. Going to be 7 unless we get a really dramatic last couple laps for the number 3. He's just been managing this race now that he has had some distance ahead of the 4.
That'd be Yuko's 9th win out of 12 races. That'd be 3/4 of the season that he has 1 if he can close this out. 6 minutes to go.
And then Gal ahead by 9.8 seconds over Hovdal. So an even bigger gap between the GTP leaders coming around here behind some lap traffic of Niels Core. Niels was having a much better race earlier on. He's fallen down to 11th since we last saw him.
Let's stick with Gal here as he tries to navigate this traffic, because this is a lot of lapped and unlapping GTO traffic that he's going to have to figure his way through. This is Hugh Haycox in second, just ahead of him, and wow, he's going to take that move. Very decisive.
Just picking his way past. You can see how he's sandwiched now. He's got no place to go and ducks underneath the lapped GTO of Oren Laskin to be able to get by. Just anticipating where the cars are going to be placed. So much of that familiarity, Adam, seems to play a huge part in how these races unfold.
Absolutely.
4 minutes left on the clock. Sintez Guindo, we thought he was quicker than King, but that's not looking like it's actually accurate anymore. It's 1.6 seconds between himself and the 12 car.
Yeah, 1.6 seconds. I think he's just falling back because of that damage that he's collected over the course of this race. He's been involved in about 2 or 3 incidents himself, so you can see him. Oh my goodness, that's close.
Well, I said it's been a bit since we saw King here, and he's not afraid, even without the familiarity, to make some aggressive moves in the traffic and get by some of our other cars. That was Olay that he overtook there before, who continues to run in 4th place.
Well, he's definitely gained a lot, so let's see whether or not he can maintain this gap. The trouble is it looks like King has got a lot better of a launch off of the corners now, so it seems like Guindo just struggling to get power down out of that engine, so it's possible he has a little bit of engine damage versus King, who has primarily aero damage, and that can definitely affect you when you're coming out of the corners. Oh boy! H.R. Sintez Guindo up the inside curb of 3, almost lost it there.
Let's get a replay. almost scared you off the track.
I mean, I appreciate skater culture, but I usually do my grinds in a park.
Oh, so Sintez Guindo back to 1.8 seconds behind King to try and make up now, and only about 2 laps to go for the remainder of this race, unfortunately. Now, Franco Scurry, we've seen him a bit here and there. He has been involved in some fights, but haven't shown as much of him as some others. He's got a shot at 4th. He's been clawing in on Mark Olay, who I think, if I remember correctly, has some damage.
Yeah, Mark's carrying damage, so Franco definitely has a good opportunity, and especially considering the fact that this is probably going to be, well, they might get 2 more laps. Alex Gal is going to be 15 seconds behind them when they cross the line, so they possibly might get 2 more laps here because Alex has quite a bit of traffic to get through before they get here. But Franco's going to have to make this work because Olay has been defending very strongly over the course of this race, so Franco's got some work to do.
Up into turn 3, not close enough to make it stick there, but certainly hustling the Italian. Another one that has been here in the Kamel GT series so much, he's practically part of the furniture. He's got very few laps to try and affect the pass. Oh, it didn't look good coming off of 5, sadly.
No, but with Mark Olay's straight line disadvantage, it's possible that Franco can close the gap on the straightaway, but he's going to have to get a good exit here off of this corner. Oh, he goes a little bit too deep.
Sticking with it. You never know what the traffic could give you. And do they have people coming up behind them? They have Krejcik approaching along with Mosquera. Those are not for position. We've already seen Martin get in the way of a few of our GTOs, though. Also, Gal is coming up.
Yeah, and Gal's going to be coming to the white flag this time by, and I think he'll pass these 2 guys before the next time they come by the flag. So This is possibly going to be Mark and Franco's last lap as Gal comes around the final corner to take the white.
There you see him. One lap to go for the Frenchman. Ooh, and the traffic around that fight between Mark and Franco is actually brought them all the way back together to the point that Scurry is going to get some overlap ahead of our leader. And he's not going to be able to hold it through the S's. But I think he's got a realistic shot at this. Once again, turn 5, his weakness.
Absolutely, but he's closer than he's been. There goes Gal, so this is absolutely their final lap. Franco's got to get something done as Marco Late blows the corner. This gives an opportunity for Franco to get up the inside, and he makes contact!
Ambition over adhesion. Franco Scurry could not get the car woed up. Mark is going to be able to take that fourth, it appears. But the man who's going to take a win is Alex Gal, notching up his 7th of the season, winning more than half of the races. Really has shown how to do it. Victory to clinch the championship for the number 1. Leskala has about half a lap to go.
Yeah, and his car's not behaving super great at this point. He's definitely worn the tires off of it, but it's not going to matter considering his challenger, Hugh Haycox, is over 7 seconds behind him.
Indeed, and I can tell you that Franco apologized to Mark over the radio for that incident. He knew that was his fault there. As we watch Yuko Leskala, he had wrapped up the championship rounds ago. So as he comes across the line, this will be the cherry on top to make it win number 9 to match his poles here at Road Atlanta. I believe that is going to wrap us up as Hugh Haycox takes 2nd in his class. Mukanos is going to get a distant 3rd for them. But we are going to go to a quick break. We're not done yet, though. We've got more show coming with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews coming your way. Welcome back to Road Atlanta. We just finished watching the season finale for the Kamel GT series, and it was a wild one, kind of like we expected, but for some, it kind of ended on a sad note, a downer for their championship. Not for Alex Gal. he took the championship, sealing it up for good over Matthias Hovdal, who didn't really look like he had a shot once we had those big incidents at the start. Nick Schneider was third behind them, ahead of James King, who went from 13th to 4th. Great run up the field ahead of Heitor Sintes Guindo. 5th place for him. Carlos Fonseca was the first one lap down in 6th, with Pablo Suarez in 7th and John Cope in 8th. Patrick Silvazzi, P9 for him, rounded out by Jeffrey Furcon. And the last one, I think, that saw the checkered flag in our prototypes was Javier Mosquera in 11th.
Yuka Leskala took yet another win, not from pole this time. Hugh Haycox had the pole, but he ended up falling off towards the back half of that race after having himself an incident. Nick McConnors is able to come home in 3rd position after a pretty tough fight with himself and Reed Miller. Mark Olay coming home with 4th after he battled with Franco Scurry towards the end of that race, who comes home in 5th. Hideki Koivisto did not have the greatest race today, but comes home in 6th ahead of Tanner McCullough, who comes home in the 7th position. A decent race for him, even after that contact with Martin Krajcik. Then we have Mika Tupola, who comes home in the 8th spot with Niels Kort in 9th. Devin Downey is going to come home in 10th with Oren Laskin in 12th. And Jamie Hamill-Smith, your last Audi to finish in the 12th position. Michael Steiner, Samuel Myers, Ian Haycox did not finish, along with the rest of the drivers on your screen.
That takes us to our winner today, Alex Gal. Alex, it was the championship finally and officially done for you, taking it all. We didn't really think that it looked likely that you would have it slip away from you, but going in, what were your preparations for that?
Mac doesn't work, or it does work. Nice. I was always scared it didn't work. My preparation for this race was not that much. I'm thinking sometimes that nobody really prepared too much for this one. I'm not sure why I would think that, but I haven't seen Matthias a lot. Sean wasn't here. I expected Sean to try to give me a run for my money on the last race, and he wasn't, so I don't know. I haven't watched the Lotus 49 race if he was also there or not.
He wasn't there, sadly, so not sure if he had other obligations out there this afternoon. But regardless, you pretty much led most of the way. You had a little bit of threat at times from Hovdal in the traffic. Did that make you nervous, or did you feel pretty calm inside the cockpit?
I did feel pretty calm because as I said on the last interview, I'm pretty happy with the traffic on Road Atlanta usually. It's not too much of a problem, and I know I'm a little bit quicker through traffic than Matthias. I'm more experienced because I have done the 3 races, the 3 European time slots. I did almost lose it on the brakes in turn 7. Honestly, maybe that's actually the first time I have felt the brake fade here. I don't know. Also, I was with Niels in the voice chat, and he also experienced brake fade pretty heavily. Track was a lot warmer than all the sessions so far for Atlanta, so yeah, I had one moment, and then Matthias didn't really defend, so he kind of gave it away. He could probably try something, but maybe he knew it was no point, and I could open up the traffic for him probably if he could stay behind.
It's interesting. That's your first time experiencing the brake fade this season. Before that, had you not been managing them at all, or did they? Was it just not drastic for you?
To be honest, I wouldn't know it's there. I keep hearing about it, but it's only the first time I was braking and like nothing happened. So that's the first time it really happened in all my practice and all my races. So I don't know. Maybe just me that did something weird with the car. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I don't really experience brake fade now.
Ah, well, something worth noting. Maybe some people will start coming to you asking how you're braking. That's saving the brakes. And congratulations.
Don't brake 100%. Don't brake 100%. That's my advice. Brake softly. Let the car roll into the corner. That's quicker.
Fantastic stuff. There you go. Hope everybody's jotting down notes. Alex, congratulations on another win and the championship.
Thank you.
That was Alex Gal, our champion and winner. And Adam has caught up with the man who chased him home both in the points and on the track, Matthias Hovdal.
Yeah, Matthias, a decent race for you today, but just looks like the traffic ended up catching you out. Unfortunately, coming home second in the championship, but it's still a great run and a great season this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this race was kind of like a lot of the other races this season. Alex had maybe a tenth or two per lap. He was just a little bit quicker than me, and I was kind of lucky to stay with him as long as I did. And then I made a mistake passing one of the Audis and lost contact with him, and that was kind of it, because ultimately he had the pace.
And speaking of the Audis, how was the traffic out there today? It seemed like there was a lot of surprising incidents in places that we usually don't see them around here. We didn't see that many contact in the S's.
I don't think it was that bad, at least from my perspective. But it is a difficult track, definitely. So, but yeah, from my perspective, there wasn't really anything out of the ordinary, I have to say.
So after your results this season, heading into next season, are you planning on running the full schedule? And if so, are you planning on running the GTP or the GTO? Because that seems to be a question we get to ask these days.
So I'm not really planning on doing the full season, since it's summertime and, vacation, and some of the COVID restrictions are being eased up a little bit. So since this is a Saturday race, I might like to prioritize some other things occasionally. But I think I'll probably stick with the GTP, but maybe I'll try the GTO as well. We'll see.
Absolutely. Well, definitely worth trying both machines. But once again, fantastic finish today. Second on the track and second in the points for the season. Is there anyone you'd like to thank for your season and the race today?
I'd like to congratulate Alex really for a solid effort this season. And, if it wasn't for his engine issues at Coda, he would have won this championship several races ago, I think. So, congratulations to him on a great effort. And also thanks to you guys for your efforts with the broadcast this season.
Well, thank you, Matthias, and we look forward to seeing you next season when you can show up. That was Matthias Hovdahl, our second place finisher in the points and the race today. Back to you, Joe.
That's going to wrap us up. After we finished off a full 12 race season, we are going to enjoy a week off, but definitely come back. We'll talk about that in a moment. In the meantime, we do want to give a thank you to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts that are listed here on your screen. And we want to give additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Adam, Sean, and Doug. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Or check out our social media. We have our outlets listed at the bottom of the screen. And if you'd like to support the channel, check out our merchandise store, simracingmerch.com/GSRC. The link is in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss a moment. The next race when we're back will not be until Saturday, June 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern, but definitely join us for that. In the meantime, we have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar, including up next this evening, the Bootleg Racing League's Grand National Series goes to Martinsville. That'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.